Hey guys, it's 99 Yada Hertz, and in this video, I want to talk about my operating system. To start off, if you haven't been watching my previous videos of 992nd Rants, you're very welcome to watch them, and I don't necessarily think that these videos should be watched in a particular order, so you can just scramble around with all my episodes, and you can watch them freely. I know this is only the third video, so it's kind of ironic to say that, but if you watched my first video, you might have noticed, what wallpaper is that? Well, if you had an Android device running Android 4.0, you know that it's the stock wallpaper for Android 4.0. In the second video, the wallpaper that I used, I'm sure most people would be familiar with it. It is the Windows XP stock wallpaper. But now, my wallpaper isn't changed. It's supposed to fit my operating system. It's the stock one for my operating system. Or is it? Well, do you think this is Windows 7 or Windows 8? Well, if it was Windows 7 to Windows 8, that would be a really terrible transformation because I didn't get rid of the start button right here, and that's the most obvious thing that points out Windows 8 from any other operating system, no start menu. But if I was transforming from Windows 8 to Windows 7, I don't think I would be doing a very good job either, because I would have to stylize the taskbar similar to this taskbar of Windows 7. So, which operating system am I using? The answer is Windows 8. The purpose of the start menu that I put was not to make it feel like Windows 7, but to make it more convenient. Why? Because I'm tired of running around between the Metro UI and the desktop UI of Windows 8. It seems practical for touchscreen devices, and I'm going to touch on that later. But for desktop, it really makes no sense. Because look, okay, so when I turn on my computer, or at least before I installed the start menu, it would take me to the start screen, which is like where all your Metro Live tiles are. The first thing that I do is click on the desktop tile. So, yeah, that's the first thing I would do when I turn it on, because most of my work is in the desktop mode. So I thought, hey, what's the point of this Metro UI? Why couldn't you just design all the extra apps to be like on a Windows 7 screen? What was wrong with Windows 7's UI? Especially on a non-touch, it doesn't feel so right, you know? I have to get used to all these charms and annoying stuff and gestures. Really, I've been so comfortable with the classic Windows for so long now. Windows has been around for almost 20 years, or the way it looks modernly, and now all of a sudden it's bad? Like, I don't understand that. It's just such an inconvenience. Like, if I want to launch a Windows 8 app such as the pictures or the videos or the camera, I have to run across between the desktop and the Metro UI. But then if I want to run my work apps, like Microsoft Office or Camtasia for editing or who knows what, but there are a lot of apps that I like to use on the desktop more than the ones on the Metro. It's why? Because, okay, you're going to have to be running across all the charm to go from the top left to view all the apps from there, and then you have to worry about these apps over here. So it's like running across two different UIs, just trying to close every program out there, except you just can't do that because, or at least it's less convenient to do that because you constantly have to go over here and then over here, and then if you want to launch a new app that's like a webcam app, you have to go back over into the start screen and then look for the camera app. It makes no sense. Why couldn't they just have all of it stylized towards the standard Windows? It's just a lot more convenient having everything on one screen. Well, Microsoft kind of tried to do that, though. Literally. To have everything on one screen. So, what they did is this snap feature thing, which I'm still trying to get used to. It is so confusing. what you can basically do is snap two applications like desktop and then another one like camera. So that way you can have two things at once. But really, why not just have everything on the desktop rather than trying to make it complicated and trying to compensate for it with extra features? It's not very efficient. However, all Microsoft was looking at was touch devices. And for touch devices like the Surface, or hybrid devices like the Surface, it actually makes sense. But Microsoft got it structurally wrong. Okay, so on the laptops, we run Windows 8. On the tablets, we run Windows 8 and we run Windows RT. On phones, we run Windows Phone 8. Why can't you just be like Apple and Google when you just have two main groups of operating systems? Like, okay, so Google has Android and Chrome OS, and I'm not saying that Android or Chrome OS are the best operating system in the world. It's just structurally right. Android for mobiles, Chrome OS for desktops or laptops or all-in-ones. Or you get my point, the kind of stuff that you would do work on rather than tablets. Or you can do work on tablets. Let's just not get into that for now. But when I'm saying desktops, I mean things like laptops or all-in-ones or traditional desktops. I'm not specifically referring to the tower model of a desktop. And also same with Apple. They got it structurally correct. We have iOS and a slightly different iOS for tablets. Same with Android, a slightly different Android for tablets. And then we have macOS. And again, I'm not saying that those are the best operating systems in the world either. I'm just saying that both of those companies, in my opinion, got everything structurally correct. Microsoft, guess what? Windows 8 is like everywhere, kind of. But it's in an inconvenient way. For example, why don't we have Windows RT on phones and tablets and have Windows 8 or maybe call it something else like Windows 7 Plus on PCs? And I'm not saying keep Windows 8 exactly the way that it is. What I'm saying is to have Windows 8 like Windows 7 except with the optimizations. Like, how I feel with Microsoft is they did all the work that they could on the Metro, not realizing that it would be an inconvenience on non-touch devices, and the rest of it is virtually untouched. There's PC settings and the stock control panel. All the settings for everything except the start menu are exactly the same. Like, they didn't even touch on it. And that's what it feels like. It doesn't feel as optimized. Versus you could have optimized it to be more fluid and to fix up a little bit of those tiny little annoyances. Like, for example, this is actually a reformatted version of Windows because there were so many programs installed, but then on the control panel it only allowed me to uninstall one thing at a time, and if I just delete everything it might not uninstall properly, who knows. So yeah, that's the issue with Windows 8. They could have just made those optimizations, just take out those little annoyances, and then just keep the desktop the way it is, because that's the most efficient way to work on the desktop. They could have stylized it a little better or kept it the same. Windows 7 looked fine. And then Windows RT. Windows RT could work on both phones and tablets, have it similar to Windows Phone 8 and the current Windows RT, except on tablets there would be two versions of RT. There would be RT Basic and RT Pro. They functioned exactly the same, except RT Pro had the x86 architecture, so that way it could run the legacy apps. And then the RT Pro could be what fuels up what I like to call hybrid books. Really, there aren't that many except for the Asus Transformer series and the Microsoft Surface. But on the Microsoft Surface, how about for your playing stuff? This is going to be the RT Pro version. on your playing stuff, you can just work freely on the Metro, and play your favorite games and whatnot, and that would be all nice. But then when you felt like you needed to work, you could be compatible with all your favorite legacy apps. And that's how the Surface Pro works, basically. Windows RT Pro is just like Windows 8. Except what I'm saying is the Windows 8 should be like more like a Windows 7 with more optimizations on the PC. But Surface Pro is perfect in my opinion. The only problem is it costs too much. It's got the perfect balance. You can work just popping your keyboard and mouse. Um, but if you want to just play, you can relax with the Metro UI because it's well designed for touchscreen devices. And now for RT Basic. RT Basic should be just the playing version, the one that would run on phones and the lower end tablets, the non-hybrid books. How about just say the regular tablets, like um like just the Metro. Maybe you could install Microsoft Word on there if you wanted to, but keep that Metro, so that way everything worked on the Metro level. You know. Um, the, Another complaint is that the Surface and the Surface Pro are too expensive. For example, I think that $399 would be fair for the Surface, and $599 or $649 would be fair for the Surface Pro. And an i5 is not really necessary though. For what standard people work on, an i3 really is good enough. If they just downgraded the specs a little bit to maybe a third generation i3 instead of third generation i5, then it could look more practical because it's cheaper. Um, the RT and RT Pro, RT Basic and RT Pro system, I think would work better than the Windows 8 because it's such an inconvenience on on these laptops. When I say hybrid book, to be clear, I mean something with a keyboard that you can pop off that becomes a tablet. And also things like the yoga and the twist, all those creative little things would count as hybrid books. Um, but I think that the standard Touch Ultra book is just nonsensical, in my opinion. You don't even need touch just to work. It's just an extra thing that consumes battery life, and it's not necessary on a desktop. You might as well have the thing removable if you can use it as a tablet, or if not removable, similar to what I would like to call the different kind of hybrid books that don't have the detachable keyboard, like the Lenovo Yoga or Dell Inspiron Duo, etc. Um, this was a heavily Windows-based episode, but now I want to move a little bit to the Chrome. So I think you get a summary of how I think that Windows would do with the Windows RT Basic, RT Pro, Windows 8 system. They could call Windows 8 something like Windows Plus, or something more creative, not just a number. I mean, face it, numbers aren't that original. Like XP and Vista and Millennium Edition and all that stuff was nice. Just Windows 7. Once in a while, those numbers are okay, but to have them twice in a row, okay. Now for Chromebook Pixel. The Chromebook Pixel is probably one of the most misunderstood devices out there. Why? Because it's actually good. And in a way, I hate to say it, but it could actually run better than Windows 8 for the majority of people. And why? Because most people, all they need is basic desktop basic desktop applications like Word and Excel and PowerPoint and browsing the internet. And frankly, that's really what most people need, unless you're people like me or gamers who want to do heavy gaming, and they want to have a good gaming experience, or they want to do some more heavy duty kind of work that the Chromebook Chromebook Pixel can't provide on its limited operating system. But really, just because it only has X gigabytes of storage, and X gigabytes of RAM, and an X gigahertz processor, doesn't mean it's bad. Like I emphasized in the last video, that it's not all about the specs.